If you've ever promised yourself, "Tomorrow I'll finally fix my routine," this video is for you. You know the feeling. It's late at night, your phone is in your hand, you're watching videos about the perfect daily routine, the 5 a.m. wake-up, cold showers, deep work blocks, exercise, reading, journaling, studying for hours. And in that moment, it feels powerful. You feel motivated. You feel in control. You tell yourself, "That's it. Tomorrow, my life changes." But tomorrow comes. The alarm rings. You hit snooze. Once, twice, maybe 5 times. Your eyes open, and the first thing you see is your phone. Notifications, messages, reels, shorts. Suddenly it's late. The routine is broken, and the worst part isn't that you failed. The worst part is the feeling that follows. Guilt, frustration, that quiet voice in your head saying, "What's wrong with me?" Here's the truth nobody tells students. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you lack discipline. It's not that you're weak. It's that you're chasing a version of a routine that was never designed for you. The idea of the perfect daily routine looks good on screen, but in real life, it quietly hurts students. It drains energy. It creates pressure. And over time, it makes you feel like you're failing even when you're trying your best. Think about this. Most perfect routines are built like machines. Every minute planned, every hour optimized. Wake up early, study deeply, exercise hard, stay consistent. No excuses, no breaks, no bad days allowed. But you're not a machine. You're a human being, a student with fluctuating energy, emotions, stress, exams, social pressure, family expectations, and mental fatigue. And yet, every time you fail to follow that routine perfectly, you blame yourself instead of questioning the routine.
That's where the damage starts. Because when students chase perfection, they don't just fail once, they fail repeatedly. And every failure chips away at confidence, slowly. Silently. You stop trusting yourself. You stop believing you can change. You start thinking discipline is pain and productivity is punishment. Let me show you how this actually plays out. A student starts strong. Day 1 is perfect. They wake up early, they study, they feel proud. Day 2 is harder, but they push through. Day 3, they're tired. Day 4, something goes wrong. A bad night's sleep, a surprise assignment, a low mood. The routine breaks. And instead of adjusting, they quit completely. Not because they don't care, but because the routine left no room for being human. This is why so many students go through cycles: motivation, obsession, burnout, guilt, repeat. And the scariest part? From the outside, it looks like productivity. Long to-do lists, color-coded schedules, study hours screenshots. But on the inside, it feels heavy, draining, suffocating. Here's something important. A routine that only works on your best days is not a good routine. A good routine works on your worst days too. Most students never hear that. Instead, they're told to wake up earlier, push harder, be stricter, be more disciplined. But discipline without flexibility becomes self-destruction. And over time, that pressure turns into anxiety, procrastination, and emotional exhaustion. That's why some students feel tired even when they're doing everything right. They're not resting mentally. They're constantly chasing an ideal version of themselves that doesn't exist. Let's talk about mornings for a moment. Mornings are where most routines fail. Students are told that if they don't wake up early, they're already behind, that success starts at 5 a.m. But what no one explains is that forcing early mornings without enough sleep doesn't build discipline. It builds resentment. You start hating your routine. You associate productivity with pain, and your brain begins to resist it. Then comes studying. The perfect routine tells you to study for long, focused hours every day, but it doesn't tell you what to do when your brain feels foggy, when concentration disappears, when anxiety kicks in. So students sit at their desk, staring at pages, feeling useless, blaming themselves for not focusing. Even breaks become stressful. You feel guilty resting, guilty scrolling, guilty relaxing, because the routine says you should always be improving, always moving forward, always doing more. And slowly, studying stops feeling like growth. It starts feeling like punishment. This is how the perfect routine hurts students. Not in one dramatic moment, but in small, quiet ways that add up over time. Here's the shift most students need, but rarely get. Stop building your day around an ideal version of yourself. Start building your day around reality. Reality is messy. Some days you'll feel sharp, some days you'll feel slow. Some days you'll feel motivated, some days you won't. And that's not a flaw, that's normal. A sustainable routine isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things consistently, even when your energy is low. Instead of asking, what is the perfect routine? Ask this instead. What is the minimum routine I can follow even on bad days? That question changes everything, because now success is no longer perfection. Success is showing up. Instead of a strict morning routine, you create a flexible start. You wake up at a realistic time, you avoid your phone for a few minutes, you move your body lightly. Nothing extreme, just enough to signal your brain that the day has started.
Instead of forcing long study hours, you focus on one meaningful study block, one session where you're present, where you try. And if that's all you can do that day, it's enough. Instead of planning your entire day hour by hour, you choose a few priorities. Not 10, not 20, just a few things that actually matter. And here's the most important part. You leave space for rest, space for boredom, space for life. Because growth doesn't happen when you're constantly pushing. It happens when effort and recovery work together. This is what most productivity videos never show you. The behind-the-scenes reality. The days when routines are adjusted, when things don't go as planned, when discipline looks quiet, not extreme. The students who actually succeed long-term aren't the ones with the strictest routines. They're the ones with routines that bend without breaking. They don't quit when a day goes wrong. They reset. They continue. They don't turn one bad day into a bad week. So, if you've been feeling tired, stuck, or guilty for not following the perfect routine, understand this: you're not broken. You're just chasing a standard that was never meant to be lived every day. Stop trying to become the perfect student. Start becoming a consistent one. Not consistent with hours, not consistent with intensity, but consistent with showing up, adjusting, and continuing. Because the routine that actually changes your life isn't the one that looks impressive, it's the one you can live with. Even on days when motivation is gone, even when life feels heavy, even when you're not at your best. And once you stop chasing perfection, something surprising happens. You feel lighter, calmer, more in control. Not because you're doing more, but because you've stopped fighting yourself. That's when progress becomes real. And this is the part most students never realize until years later. The real danger of the perfect daily routine is not burnout, it's identity damage. When you fail to follow a perfect routine again and again, your brain doesn't just think, this routine didn't work. It starts thinking, I don't work. That belief is heavy. And once it settles in, everything becomes harder. You hesitate before starting. You procrastinate, not because you're lazy, but because you don't trust yourself anymore. You tell yourself, what's the point? I'll mess it up anyway. That's how students slowly disconnect from their own potential. And the saddest part is this: many of these students are capable, intelligent, and hardworking. They care deeply about their future, but the pressure of living up to an unrealistic routine convinces them they're failing at life, when in reality, they're just failing at being unreal.
Let me say this clearly. A routine should support your life. Your life should never be forced to serve a routine. But most students do the opposite. They start measuring their worth by how early they wake up, how many hours they study, how consistent they look on paper. And when they don't match that image, the moment you stop chasing the perfect routine, you get something back that you didn't even realize you lost. Control. Not control over every minute of your day. Control over your direction. Instead of asking, did I follow the routine today? You ask, did I move forward today? And forward doesn't have to be dramatic. Forward can be understanding one difficult concept. Forward can be revising one topic properly. Forward can be showing up even when you feel low. This shift is powerful because it rewires how your brain sees effort. Effort stops being something you fear.
It becomes something you can repeat. Here's what actually works for students in the long run. They don't design their day around motivation. They design it around energy. They know mornings aren't always productive, so they don't force extreme expectations. They know afternoons can feel slow, so they use that time for lighter work. They know evenings are emotional, so they allow space for movement, creativity, or rest. They don't label days as good or bad. They see days as different. And because of that, they don't quit when things go wrong. One missed morning doesn't destroy the whole day. One unproductive day doesn't destroy the whole week. One bad week doesn't destroy their confidence. Compare that to the student chasing perfection. One late wake-up turns into self-criticism. One missed study session turns into guilt. One bad day turns into, I'll start again next week. That's the difference. Not intelligence, not discipline, but flexibility. And here's something most students don't expect. Once you stop chasing the perfect routine, you actually become more disciplined. Because discipline is not about forcing yourself to do hard things every day. It's about keeping promises you can realistically keep. When you lower the bar just enough to make consistency possible, momentum builds naturally. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop fighting your own mind. You stop needing motivation videos to restart every few days. Progress becomes quiet, unimpressive, and real. This is how growth actually happens. Not through extreme schedules, not through aesthetic routines, but through repetition that respects your limits. If you're a student watching this and you feel behind, exhausted, or disappointed in yourself, hear this carefully. You are not late. You are not weak. You are not failing. You are just done pretending that perfection is sustainable. And that's a good thing, because the moment you choose a routine you can live with, instead of one you can only imagine, everything starts to change. You show up more often. You feel less guilty. You start trusting yourself again. And when trust returns, confidence follows. So stop chasing the perfect daily routine. Build one that survives stress. Build one that forgives bad days. Build one that lets you be human. That routine won't look impressive to others, but it will quietly change your life.